6P isn't enough. The boys have you covered. Here's Jimmy Allen
and John Schreiner.
Welcome in, everybody. Thanks for joining us here on the After Hours Lounge. Happy Tuesday to you. Thanks for joining us from 6 to 8 as the sports schedule allows. We are brought to you by Bellevue University. We got a rule this past weekend.
Hey,
how are you? Good to see you.
Yeah, it's been a minute. I feel like I haven't been in here in forever.
It's been almost 2 weeks.
It has.
Time.
Yeah, seriously, 2 weeks, man.
Highlight of the CWS for you.
3 straight walk-offs to open the series.
Yeah, I thought we were in. It was still a really good series, but I thought we were in for an all-timer the way it opened up.
Yeah, I still think it was. I think it was an all-timer.
It was really good baseball. Yeah,
so high level. The games, like there was only one that you could even maybe consider one game you could maybe consider a blowout, and they were all tight down to the wire type games. This was the best one I can remember.
It was a really, really good series, and we'll try to keep everybody up to date on what's going on throughout the Omaha area as far as the weather is concerned as well. We're in a severe thunderstorm. There's 2.5-inch size hail being reported in the La Vista / Bellevue area, so we hope our friends from Plattsmouth are able to arrive safe and sound here at the 7:30 time period.
What was your highlight from the series?
Not being anywhere near Charles Schwab Field. It was fantastic. I had the week off, and I was not complaining in any way about that. I want to talk about Matt Rhule. He talked to the media probably for the last time until the start of fall practice this weekend. And he opened up talking about a couple of things, and I want to get into what he did and didn't say, but he referenced Ohio State and the way they bring in kids to camps and offer them, and then all of a sudden these kids are 4- and 5-star players. And then Nebraska does it, and it's listed as Nebraska recruiting hidden gems and doing things under the radar, and kind of took a little bit of a dig at the recruiting services and people that are evaluating talent, and kind of making it seem like, Nebraska doesn't have the talent evaluation level that the Notre Dames, the Georgias, the Ohio States of the world have. But it's really interesting to me how many times now Matt Rhule has reference the way other schools do things at a high level. Listen, he talked about going down to Georgia and looking at the way they run practice. He's not talked about Ohio State and the way they offer kids and recruit. And it kind of feels like this coaching staff is trying to look at the playbook of the way the successful schools are doing it and taking it, running with it, and kind of making it their own, as opposed to taking the way of an approach the way it's always been done.
Yeah, it is very interesting to me, mainly just about the recruiting rankings thing, because you and I have talked about it a bunch, that I think we both feel the same, that Dylan Raiola's recruiting ranking got dinged because he decommitted from Georgia.
Yeah, I don't think that's even debatable.
That maybe there was a favor called in or something of that nature. But for whatever reason, we don't know whether there was some bad mouthing going on behind the scenes, like this kid's not actually that good, that's why he left us, because he wasn't we don't know that, but there are some assumptions that you can make based on the results when he had done nothing different.
Yeah, had a really good year at Buford, by the way, except
be the same player that he was as a 5-star number 1 quarterback in the country, and then all of a sudden, well, he's not that anymore. So
yeah,
I don't think it's deniable that some of that stuff happens. Like, there are a lot of teams that get the benefit of the doubt.
I don't know if it's necessarily they commit somewhere other than the blue chip schools. I think it's more they commit in general, because it feels like the recruiting services kind of want to do themselves a favor and leave the kids that still have information to report on a little bit higher on the list and make it look better. But the interesting thing about what Matt Rhule said about Ohio State and the way they do it and the way Nebraska's doing it, and when he referenced that Nebraska's recruiting these hidden gems, he paused for a minute and got a big smile on his face and said, no, we're recruiting future NFL guys. And it's kind of hard to not see the proof in the pudding. Now, you haven't seen it in Lincoln, But the way they've been able to develop talent both at Temple and at Baylor and get those guys to the next level, it's not really questionable.
I think the other thing you have to understand here is you have to look at it from the other angle as well. Matt Rule is also doing a sales job.
Uh-huh.
He is also telling kids, like, look, just because you're a 3-star, it doesn't mean you can't come here and contribute.
Yeah, they just added an NAIA quarterback.
If you're a 3-star and you're being recruited by us, don't think that means like, oh, I'm going to go there and be buried on the depth chart. Like, he's also not just talking to the media and the recruiting services. He's talking to recruits as well. He is trying to sell Nebraska as a place where you can go and get developed.
And he's doing it in a little bit of a different way than anybody we've seen, because he talked about this openly and said, I'm trying to have a complete roster flip while maintaining everybody that we have on the roster. And we saw it this week. They added, I just mentioned, they added a quarterback from the NAIA ranks. They added a running back to the room as well. And it really feels like they don't have any intention of slowing down adding guys to this room. And Jalen Gramsted's going to be really interesting, the quarterback I just referenced, because he did play a little bit of safety too. And then obviously he played quarterback at a really high level at the NAIA level. And how they use him, because he comes off to me as a guy they could use in special teams. And if that's the case, it's going to be really interesting. And we told you we'd keep you up to date on the weather situation. We're starting to get hail. Large hail here at 50th and Dodge. So if you're in the area, you may want to pull over or try to seek shelter for your vehicle sooner rather than later. But after he talked about the additions of the roster, he maybe had the line of the press conference when he talked about how they're going to utilize their wide receivers and the run game this season, and said, if you play one high or zone blitz against us, we're going to absolutely murder you. That's a direct quote from the head football coach in Lincoln. He talked about needing the quarterback run game a year ago and said it's going to be an option this year, but even literally stuck his tongue in his cheek. So literally tongue in cheek said, but we're not going to lean on that this year. Dylan Raiola is not going to be running the football, folks. If you're expecting that, I suggest you look away, because that's going to be a different situation this year. But the way they're building this roster, and he talked, and he took a unique approach about restrictions on scholarships and things like that, and took a more positive twist on it, that we can offer more guys that would be walk-ons. And I think that's an interesting point. He brought up the number 122. And if it gets up to 120 scholarships, I think it's needed, though. But with the attrition you see in college football and not having the open market that the NFL does to go out and just get guys willy-nilly, it's going to have to be over 105, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on the 105 number like for a long time now. I think that's the one. I don't know. And I know it depends on the coach of what they want, you know. Some coaches like to have a huge group of guys that they can pull from. Others, I think, find it a bit unwieldy, and you just have too many, cooks in the kitchen, so to speak.
Sure.
So it's down to personal preference, but there's got to be a limit at some point. It can't just be unlimited.
Well,
right?
there is. You have 85 scholarships right now, John.
Yeah.
Did you not know that? Yeah, and I didn't think about it from that angle. The limitation. The roster size being upped that heavily with scholarships available. We talked about how eliminating the walk-on program could be detrimental to some guys, but if you limit the roster size but raise the scholarship numbers, I think that's a win for everybody.
Absolutely. I think that because look, like, we all know what's happening now is that the NIL scholarship is a thing that is happening, especially with transfers. Guys who are coming from other schools, transferring in, they're not on scholarship, but they're somehow affording their school without student loans. Like,
right.
Right. We know how this is happening. It's going to, it's like, so what's the only remedy you can think of immediately? There are no more walk-ons. Everybody's either on scholarship or they're not on your football team.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the way you can limit this so that there's not sort of a skirting of the boundaries.
And
which is happening now.
He made a good point, and we've talked a lot about Title IX and the ramifications of everything going on. But he made a good point that, hey, if they raise our scholarships, they're gonna have to raise everybody else's too. So it's not like just football is going to be affected by this. And we talk about all the negative connotations around other sports and how football being put on this pedestal and really only looked at as the primary sport is gonna weaken or worsen other sports. And this may be something that we end up looking at as an overall net positive of the way football is affecting all the other sports going on around college athletics.
Well, it may increase the scholarships for the other sports, which is a good thing. I mean, baseball has long been the one that's like, you're giving them how many scholarships? And you want a roster of like 30 guys?
Not only you need that many.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to have arms in baseball.
And a lot of those guys are going and playing a Division I sport without the support of having, their school paid for. And that's a huge burden because a lot of those kids, believe it or not, will not be going on to play professional baseball. And then they've got they have an education, sure, but they're in the same boat as every other student now. They got to play college baseball, and now they have a huge student loan debt that, a lot of the football athletes are not having to worry about. So it does seem unfair in some respects that you have such a disparity from number of scholarships to roster size, especially contributors major contributors in baseball that are getting a 25% scholarship, maybe
if that. Yeah. We're gonna take a pause for the calls. Go check our hail damage on our vehicles. Maybe you should too if you missed the opening segment tonight. Check it out, SoundCloud.com/afterhours1620. It was brought to you by Amber Best with Berkshire Hathaway Real Estate. There's a new listing up at 7017 South 32nd Ave in Bellevue. If you're looking to buy a home, buy with the best. Head over to Amber Best Real Estate. That's BESS.com. And have her help you either get your house off the market or get you in your forever home today. Just check her out. Her listing at 7017 South 32nd Avenue in Bellevue if you're looking for a home as well. We'll be right back talking about the CWS, putting a bow on it and giving the volunteers their flowers here on 1620 The Zone.
Hey everybody, John Schreiner here for Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. You haven't heard me say it for a couple of weeks, but here I am again to tell you. If your friends are good people, then they are having their wedding at this time of year. They're getting it in now before we get to the fall sports season. And if that's you, if you're invited, if you're on the invite list, don't show up in a suit from 10 years ago that barely fits anymore. Go to Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear for the premier suit buying experience in the Midwest. They will get you fit. You're going to look great. It's going to be a suit that suits you and fits you well. When you step on the dance floor at your cousin's wedding, everyone's going to look at you and they're going to come up and ask, where did you get your suit? And you can tell them, I went to 78th and Dodge, and I went to Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear, and they've been fitting Omaha for over 50 years.
Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
A heat advisory into this evening. The temperature in the 90s, the triple-digit heat index. Severe storms are possible later tonight. We'll see lows dropping down into the upper 60s. Hail and high winds are possible with the storms. And then a sunny, pleasant Wednesday with a high of 87. I'm Chief Meteorologist Bill Ranby from KETV Newswatch 7.
Tradition, the Bellevue University Bruins could be the right fit for you. Whether on the court or on the field, track or course, our student athletes strive and succeed. This year, Bellevue teams and individuals have combined to win 11 conference championships, with 8 teams qualifying for their national tournaments. Plus, nearly 50 student athletes were also named to all conference teams. Find out more about our tradition of excellence at BUBruins.com.
Howdy, Greg Wagner joining you from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission. Time now for another Nebraska Outdoor Update. Hey, planning a trip to a state park? One of Nebraska's 76 state park lands? Excellent. But don't forget your state park permit, money for camping fees and other activities, a fishing permit if you want to wet a line, and oh yeah, a 6-foot leash for Scruffy, your pet. Thank you, and we hope to see you out there. By the way, you can get all kinds of information on the Nebraska State Park lands through the Game and Parks website. That web address is outdoornebraska.gov. Are you going fishing? I thought so. For proper catch and release fishing this season to ensure fish survival, I want you to remember these important things. Land the fish as quickly as possible. Handle the fish as little as possible. Keep the fish in the water as much as possible, and release the fish as fast as possible. Enjoy your fishing experience, and we'll see you out there. I'm Greg Wagner with Nebraska Game and Parks.
Ready to make a positive impact in a young boy's life? Join Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Midlands and become a mentor where you are matched up with a boy in the greater Omaha area. Over 50 boys are waiting for someone like you to guide and inspire them. Visit mentoromaha.org and sign up to make a difference in a boy's life. Don't wait. Make a lasting impact today.
Jerry Ryan Clothing has been dressing Omaha for over 50 years. Located at 78th and Dodge, they've got you covered for your summer events. Let Johnny O, Mizzen and Maine, Roan, and Peter Millar take care of golf, office, or a night on the town looks. Whether it's a golf polo for the course or completely updating your business casual wardrobe, do it in style. Let Dan, John, Jake, or Deanna take care of your look for any event. As always, free alterations by Moner the Tailor. It's Jerry Ryan Clothing, 78th and Dodge.
Are you watching the water slowly seep down the drain again? Go with a local solution. Go with Trusted. AX Plumbing is here to help. With over 20 years of serving the metro area, AX Plumbing can do it all, from residential to commercial. They can even help with the new build installation service. Head over to axpservice.com today. There's financing available to qualified buyers and military discount too. Check out axpservice.com today. AX Plumbing. They'll leave your place cleaner than they found it.
Are you dreaming of your business dominating local Google searches, drawing in customers effortlessly? Look no further. I'm Courtney, the Google gal from Pixel Fire Marketing. Need assistance with your Google business profile? From verification to getting more reviews, fixing maps to tackling annoying Google calls? I've got you covered. Your profile sets you apart and ensures you're the top choice for local customers. Visit fixmygbp.com for our $297 special offer. Visit fixmygbp.com for more details.
Hop into the driver's seat of a new Ford truck or SUV now at Baxter Ford. Choose from hundreds of new Ford F-150s, F-150 Lightnings, F-250s, and F-350s. Baxter Ford has over 250 new SUV models available, including Bronco, Bronco Sport, Escape, Edge, Explorer, Expedition, and more. Plus, all our vehicles come with fair, transparent pricing and no dealer fees. So you only pay for the vehicle, not the paperwork. Get started at BaxterFord.com.
You're listening to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
$6:20 in a very rainy Tuesday night here on 1620 The Zone. Brought to you by Bellevue University. If you're looking for the ideal college experience this fall, head over to bellevue.edu, register for classes, and become a Bruin tonight. Jimmy Allen, John Schreiner here with you tonight. It's time for the Who Wants to Smoke segment. It is good. It's raining tonight and not yesterday. That would not have allowed the Tennessee Volunteers to likely walk away with the national championship in college baseball. The number one seed walks into Omaha and walks out with the trophy. They were by far the best team, in my opinion. I think Florida had the most talent, but I think the best team was Tennessee. Texas A&M obviously was the other team represented in the national championship. We're going to get into them in a little bit because they need a new head coach just the day after a national title game. But for my money, I think they had the best pitching staff. I think they had the best infield, and I think they had the best lineup. And it really showed in those last two championship games.
Well, Tennessee won the College World Series at Charles Schwab Field, kind of the way you used to win it
at Rosenblatt
by hitting long balls.
Yeah.
Right? They built kind of a guerrilla squad that would have been right at home at the old ballpark.
I would have 15
Street.
more home runs in that ballpark.
Which is really interesting to say because I think they ended with like 184 home runs this season. As a team.
That was the last number I saw too.
And which is just a ton. It's nearing the single season record.
Yeah, I know it's still aluminum bats, but that's still a ton.
So yeah, I think they went about it a little different. Like the teams in the past that you've seen win in the TD Ameritrade Charles Schwab era,
it's won by pitching.
Have been great pitching staffs, great defensively, and they sort of piece it together on offense.
See, but I still think Tennessee had all those aspects. Though.
They did.
They had a deep bullpen. They had a great closer.
The relief staff for Tennessee is what won them.
Yeah,
this
head and shoulders
championship.
above everybody else.
Their relief staff was incredible, and they pitched really, really well throughout the tournament. And look, they're also really tough. I mean, they had to win a walk-off game in their first game of the College World Series.
Yeah, it had everybody going, oh, is the curse of the number 1 overall seed still alive and well?
Then they lost the first game of the championship series and had to win 2 straight. That's also a very tough team. That team played really good baseball. They're like, if you watch them at all, they're insanely confident.
And I think a lot
to
of
the point of being cocky.
And I think a lot of that stems from the way it ended for them a year ago, right? And not even being able to kind of live out your own story and kind of finish it the way you want it to. And then this year, again, you're sitting in that top seed and you finally get to Omaha and you get the opportunity to play in a championship series and just not being denied.
And that confidence comes from the top down. Like Tony Vitello
he's a dude.
He's a good coach, really good coach. And I was happy to see them win because they're a fun team to watch. They're not a stodgy old baseball team who we've got all the unwritten rules and this and that.
It had a late 90s, early 2000s feel to it. I agree with that.
They're out there having fun. They're celebrating. They have characters. I think that's good for the game.
Yeah, back-to-back years, you get that situation with LSU and obviously Paul Skeens and that entire pitching staff and
Tommy Tanks.
Yeah, and then now with Tennessee this year.
I love it.
I don't know if I say that they were the best team in this tournament though.
Why?
Because I still put Florida at the very top.
So I think
they're the ones.
If we're talking 1 through 5, I agree with you. But overall, that's where I give it to Tennessee.
Overall, it still goes to Florida. Because you're wrong.
Jack Caglione. That's the only reason. Yeah.
You've got one reason. It's Jack Caglione. And then you've got the fact that Florida, of all the teams in this tournament, got the rawest deal of all.
What?
They get their night game canceled. They got to play in the morning. They blow out all 15 runs that they probably would have scored all day. And then they have to take on a very good Texas A&M squad to close out the day on maybe only about 5.5 hours of rest, which does not bode well for that squad.
Yeah, and that was the tale of 2 games.
Don't come through the losers bracket and you're fine.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you just don't put yourself in that position. But I mean, we've been really lucky the past couple of years with the weather. And I know it's ironic to be talking about this after the end of sirens going off in the metro area. But it just throws such a wrench into it, especially when you have to have 3 games in one day. Not only for us around here, but the pitch, most importantly, pitching staffs and the coaching staffs down at the Schwab.
I'm not hearing it that Florida got a raw deal, and I'm not hearing
I'm not
the
either.
best team either.
I think they've got the 2 of the 3 most talented players, but I think Tennessee's the most deep.
And Florida's starting pitching and their bullpen is nowhere near as good as Tennessee's either. I watched both of those teams play a bunch of baseball over the last week and a half, and with what Tennessee can bring out of the bullpen and the way that those guys showed up in big moments, Florida doesn't have that. They don't have that back end stopper like a Kirby Cannell or I'm misremembering the other kid's name Sneed. They don't have a Sneed. Florida doesn't have those guys.
Or a mustache like that. Dan?
I'm just going to be fair, John, because you can do I've watched a lot of the baseball all you want. But, everyone watched a lot of the baseball.
Sure.
It's our local baseball tournament. It's our economic drive.
See,
and I'm telling you what I saw.
We're all entitled to our opinions,
Absolutely.
just like we all have, that thing around our backside.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You're wrong a lot. It's okay, Dan.
Because Florida was the better team.
Man, Jack Caglione was worth the price of admission, though. I mean, anybody that got to see him both pitch and hit this week.
If anybody pitched to him, he hit it out of the yard pretty much.
He had no problem taking you the distance every time he was given the opportunity to. But no, you kind of alluded to it earlier. I was going to ask you how you graded this series. I gave it an A. And overall, it was the only thing I thought we were missing this week, was the star power. I mean, obviously you had Morgan Wall and Peyton Manning were in attendance, but you didn't have any of the football coaches really show up. There wasn't a whole lot of like local personalities for the teams that came around either. It just kind of felt like that was the one, like the baseball, everything on the field was great. It just kind of felt like everything off the field was a little bit lackluster.
I mean, Governor Ron DeSantis was here.
I stand with what I just said.
Yep.
You want stars? Biggest star.
It's a strong A if it's not an A+. I mean, just the quality of baseball that we saw over the past 10, 11 days was really, really high and really entertaining. And like, honestly, on the field, you can't ask for anything more. Attendance was insane. Like, it was so hard to get into those final series games. Tickets were so hard to come by. It was, those fan bases absolutely showed out. And I just think it was great. Like I say earlier, I said it. This is the best one that I can remember.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that stems from everything we were just talking about. There was a lot of debate about who the most talented. I mean, we were talking about the most talented team, and we didn't even talk about the runner-up to the national championship. Yeah. Texas A&M was obviously loaded as well. We're going to talk about the other championships that were decided over the weekend between the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup Finals as well. We come back on the other side of the break. If you missed that segment, check it out. SoundCloud.com/AfterHours1620. It was brought to you by 402 Barbecue. Kelly and the team are nice enough to provide us with dinner tonight. Stop by 84th and Spring tomorrow. Grab yourself a Cadillac sandwich. That's mine and John's personal favorite. It's brisket, it's pork, it's topped off with the world famous smoked mac and cheese, and you can't go wrong with a B-Rat either. It's Dan's personal favorite over there at 402 Barbecue. Stop by tomorrow and grab lunch. We will put a bow on Luka Doncic's championship run and tell John Schreiner he was correct when we come back. 1620.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for AX Plumbing. If you're in the Omaha area and you're sitting there watching your sink drain as slow as it ever has, and you're just sick of trying to clean all the gunk out and you can't get it out by yourself all the time, you just keep calling plumber after plumber to come out and give you a solution to fix your draining issues, let AX Plumbing come out. Give them a call tonight at 402-382-4833. Go with a local, trusted, contracted and insured plumber with AX Plumbing. You can stop by their website at axpservice.com. Check out their 279 5-star reviews tonight. It's AX Plumbing, 402-382-4833 or axpservice.com tonight.
The dream of playing the sport you love may be closer than you think. The Bellevue University Athletic Department proudly sports the best scholarship funding among NAIA programs in the state. To compete with the best, we need to recruit the best. All incoming freshmen earn a $5,000 scholarship when they enroll at Bellevue University. Learn more by looking us up at BUBruins.com and reach out to your future coach today.
Going Vertical Basketball Academy is the premier sports performance training facility in the Midwest. Working with athletes as young as kindergarten all the way to college and the pros, GVBA offers a variety of packages from individual workouts to group sessions. They also offer elite-level sports performance training for athletes of all sports. Check out the academy at 10700 Sapp Brothers Drive in Omaha or at goingverticalomaha.com. That's goingverticalomaha.com.
Are you ready to elevate your taste buds? Look no further than Pepper Jacks, your go-to destination for bold flavors and endless choices. Dive into their mouth-watering rice bowls, crisp salads, hearty Phillies, savory burritos, and loaded nachos. What sets them apart? Complete customization. Choose your base, proteins, toppings, and sauces for a personalized culinary adventure. At Pepper Jacks, it's not just a meal, it's an experience. Unleash your cravings and savor the bold tastes at Pepper Jacks today. Life's too short for bland. Spice it up at Pepper Jacks.
Jerry Ryan Clothing has been dressing Omaha for over 50 years. Located at 78th and Dodge, they've got you covered for your summer events. Let Johnny O, Mizzen and Main, Roan, and Peter Millar take care of golf, office, or a night on the town looks. Whether it's a golf polo for the course or completely updating your business casual wardrobe, do it in style. Let Dan, John, Jake, or Deanna take care of your look for any event. As always, free alterations by Moner the Tailor. It's Jerry Ryan Clothing, 78th and Dodge.
Don't keep up with the Joneses. Blow the Joneses out of the water and have everyone talking about your house this summer. Let Forsman's Finest Decks come build you a deck, put a cover on it, and give your house the much-needed facelift it deserves. Forsman's Finest Decks has been improving homes in the Omaha area for more than half a decade. With over 135 five-star reviews, you're not going to regret your decision to enjoy the finer things. Check out forsmansfinest.com and have your dream deck built this summer. Forsman's Finest Decks, building the finest decks in Omaha.
I'm Dave Osted. And I'm Ryan Osted. Every golfer will get value from being custom fit. The truth is, the higher handicappers will get more value from being custom fit than the low handicappers.
It's changed so much since my dad started the business in 1963. We now have hundreds of thousands of dollars in technology, and we know exactly what the spin rate is, what the launch angle is. We encourage you to bring your current clubs in now, and we can compare it. And guys walk out of the store knowing that the purchase they just made is going to give them 21 more yards off the tee box. Play better, have fun, and shop Osted's.
Veterans, do you know what local, state, and federal benefits and services you're eligible to receive? Do you want help navigating the application or appeals process? Speak to your county veteran service officer or the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs State Service Office to see what's available to you and your family. You've served our country, now let us serve you. Visit veterans.nebraska.gov today. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Now back to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
We do have a programming update. The storms in the metro area are going to affect this show. Unfortunately, Curtis Larson and the Plattsburgh Blue Devils football team will not be joining us tonight. I'm going to see if we can get them in tomorrow. The storm is obviously still going on outside. It's starting to clear up here on 50th and Dodge. We actually got a little bit of sunshine a few minutes ago, but very much still affecting the Plattsmouth area. So Curtis Larson and his football team will not be joining us tonight. We're going to see if we can get them back on the show tomorrow. We are brought to you by Bellevue University. If you are a high school athlete and are looking for the premier college experience in the fall, head over to bellevue.edu, register for classes, and become a Bruin tonight. So yeah, we will not be talking Plattsmouth football tonight. We can have the conversation we were just having off here at 7:30 instead. Problem solved. But there's a lot of problems in Dallas, Texas, and Edmonton, Alberta, respectively, because neither one of those cities is holding a trophy today. Stanley Cup Series, obviously much more entertaining and exciting than the NBA Finals. I kind of wonder, though, with both of these teams, respectively, if we kind of have that building block year for both of these teams, and maybe more Edmonton more than Dallas, because with Edmonton, and I said this in the Western Conference Finals, I really felt like that strong side, stick side shot that McDavid had over the back was kind of his I've arrived moment. And he never, obviously he's been and I mean on the constant championship pursuit level, not as a superstar in the NHL.
I was about to say, it's his welcome to the show moment after winning 3 MVP trophies.
And being probably the best player in the league. I mean from the Edmonton Oilers are here and have arrived moment, not necessarily Connor McDavid. But I wonder if with Edmonton, we're going to see them kind of go on this long-term run. And Dallas still has Luka Doncic. We're going to see what happens with Kyrie and all that, but it doesn't seem like he's in any hurry to get out of Dallas either. But it really feels like with Edmonton, of the 4 teams that we're going to talk about in these 2 championship series, they are better structured to have a long-term run.
So I'll say this about
and they've
Edmonton.
also got the best team and the player in the game.
Thank you.
The contract situation with Leon Draisaitl is the big question in the offseason.
That's a great point.
For Edmonton. Because if they don't keep Draisaitl, they're going to be searching for a replacement that probably doesn't exist. Because
not too many people can do what he does.
There just aren't. That player doesn't live in the league. I mean, there aren't very many of them, and everybody
available. Dan, availability is important,
and everybody wants that guy, right? So I don't know where you find a replacement if you're unable to sign him. I don't know if Edmonton will be able to afford to re-sign him.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's the big question for Edmonton is what happens with Leon in the offseason. as far as building for their long-term future, I don't think Stuart Skinner's good enough to win a Stanley Cup, to be honest. He had his moments in the playoffs, but you'll remember early on in the playoffs, he got yanked because he was giving up too many goals.
Yeah, and
so
it's a lot of the reason in the Stanley Cup Finals why they got off that 3-1 run too that Florida did.
I think they've got to address between the pipes, and they're going to have to do something to try either keep or replace a Draisaitl, which is not easy.
My biggest
Unless
thing,
you're Dan Camping, because he's got the answer for you.
I do, because I think if Draisaitl goes out there and actually has a decent performance in that final series, then we're having a completely different conversation today. Because I can see Edmonton wanting to live without him. If you're not going to show up in that championship series the way that they expected him to, then I think his contract is a little bit more pushed across the table than we actually think it is.
I disagree, but I don't disagree with the take you have. I mean, it kind of felt like, especially in those last 4 games, that Connor McDavid kind of had to put everything on his back and carry the load because you weren't getting the exact response that you were across the ice. I still think his performance throughout the season is gonna change the narrative about the contract that you just said. But you're not wrong about your take about his performance in the finals.
I think you can find someone to pair with McDavid who's got a little bit more of a cool, even head and is a little bit more of an even point scorer throughout the season.
We don't want
possibly
that, Dan.
than Draisaitl.
We want fights.
We want flash.
We want
that's what
fast
hockey's
and
about.
furious.
That was a bad word choice on your part, by the way. There's a flash flood warning in Sarpy County currently addressed by the National Weather Service going till 9 o'clock tonight. I want to make sure we get that information out there.
But just overall, I think this Stanley Cup playoffs was great. It was a lot of fun.
I'm really glad we got 7 games out of the finals.
Yeah, it was amazingly somehow.
Yeah, after a 3-0 start.
I think everybody thought after it was 3-0 that Florida was just going to close it out.
We thought we were talking about a sweep before we went off the air.
Yeah. I kind of thought Edmonton would get 1 at home. I thought there was a 5-game series probably, but man, what a comeback. That's I mean, even though they lost in game 7, it is still really impressive to get that thing to game 7.
Yeah, and a lot of the reason that we're talking about Connor McDavid winning the MVP of the series, despite his team not winning the trophy, and it's a testament to who he is as a player. The fact that he can really take over a series and just needed 1 more game to win a Stanley Cup.
He's
good.
He's just unstoppable.
He's good at the hockey.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the better. I mean, in my recent memory of hockey, that's probably one of the better game 7s that we've had in a while, where it was actually competitive.
And every minute felt important.
Yeah. And towards the end, it was the Oilers just seemed to actually finally understand, all right, I think we just need to keep the puck in their zone and try to actually put some shots on net.
Hey, good things happen when you're on the other team's side of the ice. It's
to
a
be
weird
fair,
concept.
Bobrovsky turned from Bobrovsky and just a plain up brick wall and was able to stop anything that they were throwing at him. And he had a lot of very good defensive help from the rest of that Panthers team.
You ready to pivot to the NBA? I know you've been chomping at the bit to get this.
I just want to remind everybody that when the playoffs started, I said Florida was going to win.
That's true.
And when the postseason in college baseball started, I said Tennessee was going to win.
Okay, that's a little bit of a different branch to go out on. You took the number 1 seed in the tournament.
Who the number 1 seed hadn't won the tournament since '99.
Still the number 1 seed in the tournament.
All right, I was still right.
Yeah, 25 years of data against him.
Let me guess, you had UConn in March Madness too, right? Look at you.
Did I? Maybe
going out on a limb, John Schreiner. The NBA Finals. How much different, and Dan, this is more of a question for you because you probably can think of an answer to this. How much different do we look at this Boston nucleus if they only win this title?
So much different strictly because of Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
It is only because of
agree.
Jaylen Brown, because when he came in, the first words out of his mouth were, we're going to bring 5 championships to Boston in the next 6 years.
Yeah.
You've only got 1 now. And now, granted.
You guys remember when Lakers took Lonzo Ball over him?
Yes, I do.
That was the thing.
Great choice. But they've been working so hard to get to this point right now that for them, this is a humongous payoff. Now, I 100% think that they can do this again next year.
I mean,
there's no reason why they can't
I would
pay
tend
the
to
people who need to be paid.
I would
and
tend to
stick
agree with you,
around.
but think about all the struggles they had to get to this series this time. Like, I mean, they've fallen so short of the mark. So many. I agree. I think they're built to win long term, and they've just had so many shortcomings in the playoffs. Obviously, they finally get over that hump, and sometimes we see teams be able to do that, and they can continue the success once they've gotten there. But I mean, they should be the best team next year, but we've seen them stub their toe so many times. I think I need to see it more than once to think that they can get it even to the championship series.
To be fair, call it what you want it, because Twitter hates Boston. Twitter hates the Boston Celtics. So I have seen many a meme, many a tweet, many a picture, many a long form YouTube video that I watch when I get ready and make my breakfast in the morning. Of people saying, well, this is why Boston won. This is why Boston won, because this guy got hurt and this guy got hurt and they did this to this other team. And it's obvious that these are all the reasons why Boston won. No, Boston
dominated
won
every
because
series.
they were the best team in the East. And no matter if you want to put Joel Embiid back in, you want to put Giannis and Dame back in that series, they're still going to win.
I don't want to hear the Joel. You can get me there on the Giannis and Dame stuff. Like, you could convince me that that's an argument, but I don't want to hear the Embiid stuff. Like, if we're gonna talk about Boston and their shortcomings in the playoffs, you can't really crown the 76ers by any stretch of the imagination either.
No, I'm pushing that. If we're going with that narrative, I'm going back a year, 2 years ago, when KD was still a Brooklyn Net and saying, look at that.
Yeah, maybe
to talk about their shortcomings in the play.
If his foot wasn't just a half an inch shorter. The one thing that kind of gets swept under the rug, and maybe it's because of the names that you have in Boston with Brown, with Tatum. Obviously, we saw when he was healthy, the Porzingis experiment has definitely worked out. I don't know if they're winning this championship without Drew Holiday. He is probably the most important piece that they added, in my opinion, to that roster.
I have zero disagreement. Yeah. I have no argument against that. I am only for it because Drew Holiday is the reason that they won a championship.
I think I understand why the trophy was hilariously given to Jaylen Brown and not Jason Tatum. But because of how hard he was trying the last few minutes of that game to clearly win the MVP of the series. You're up 20 and you're diving for balls. But you could have convinced me to show in to Drew Holiday. Your thoughts, John Schreiner?
Peja Stojakovic.
That's all we got for you as far as the NBA.
Whoa. All right. At least give me an old Boston player.
Yeah. Okay.
You've got a whole roster of them to pick from.
Nope.
No, you're not a Bill Laimbeer guy?
Nope.
All right. If you
Bill Laimbeer never played for Boston.
That's Detroit.
Oh, sorry, Bill. I was going to say Bill Walton. My bad. If you missed any of that segment, check it out. SoundCloud.com/AfterHours1620. It was brought to you by Williams Law. Have Bob Williams with Williams Law represent you. Maybe you're facing a DUI charge, or maybe you're going through some litigation. You just need some answers. Give Bob and his team a call at 402-522-6317 if you got after it a little bit too hard down at Omaha Baseball Village this week and got yourself in a little bit of trouble. Check out Williams Law at 402-522-6317 and get a free, no-obligation legal consultation today. We will be right back. Give you a price check on a jackass here on 1620 The Zone.
D. Brown.
Hey everyone, it's Dan Campanen here for Pepper Jack's Grill. I've been telling you for a while now about a steak gunner Philly, and I know it makes your mouth water every night because it makes my mouth water every night. But did you know that Pepper Jack's has healthy options as well? You can get a salad or some of those French fries, dip them in that ranch. Will be one of the best things you've ever eaten. What more could you want? Stop by and grab dinner, healthy or otherwise, at Pepper Jack's 10 great locations tonight.
Are you looking to be part of a winning tradition? The Bellevue University Bruins could be the right fit for you. Whether on the court or on the field, track or course, our student athletes strive and succeed. This year, Bellevue teams and individuals have combined to win 11 conference championships, with 8 teams qualifying for their national tournaments. Plus, nearly 50 student athletes were also named to all conference teams. Find out more about our tradition of excellence at BUBruins.com. Ready to make a positive impact in a young boy's life? Join Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Midlands and become a mentor where you are matched up with a boy in the greater Omaha area. Over 50 boys are waiting for someone like you to guide and inspire them. Visit mentoromaha.org and sign up to make a difference in a boy's life. Don't wait. Make a lasting impact today.
Are you ready to elevate your taste buds? Look no further than Pepper Jacks, your go-to destination for bold flavors and endless choices. Dive into their mouth-watering rice bowls, crisp salads, hearty Phillies, savory burritos, and loaded nachos. What sets them apart? Complete customization. Choose your base, proteins, toppings, and sauces for a personalized culinary adventure. At Pepper Jacks, it's not just a meal, it's an experience. Unleash your cravings and savor the bold tastes at Pepper Jacks today. Life's too short for bland. Spice it up at Pepper Jacks.
When you shop local, you help strengthen our community. So if you need roof repair, gutters, siding, even windows, call local Pyramid Contractors. They're the #1 roofer in Omaha for more than a dozen years. Let Pyramid Contractors come and give you a free estimate. Give them a call at 402-502-9300. That's 402-502-9300. Or visit them online at PyramidRoof.com. Never settle for less.
Criminal, civil, personal. If you or a loved one is facing a lawsuit, let Williams Law represent you and your family today. With more than 20 years litigation experience in Nebraska, Williams Law will defend you with the dedication you deserve. If you're facing a DUI or if your son or daughter has been accused of a crime, Williams Law is here for you. Call 402-522-6317 to get a free, no-obligation consultation and to get the representation you deserve today.
Fellow Nebraskans, we need your help getting signatures to finally legalize medical marijuana. We only have 3 weeks left. Get to our state's best liquor stores, wine, beer, and spirits to name and sign. Support us at nmm2024.org to make donations. Let's go.
It hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, I never smoked a cigarette. How in the hell did I get lung cancer?
I don't smoke. I've never smoked. So I started Googling. One word just kept coming up, like it was in bold and red, and it was radon.
Radon is the #2 cause of lung cancer.
Well, you don't know if it's in your home. You got to test. You can't see it. You can't taste it. You can't smell it.
What's your level? Radon Defense Midwest can help. Visit radonradio.com for a special offer. That's radonradio.com.
You're listening to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
.648 on a Tuesday night here on 1620 Zone, brought to you by Bellevue University. If you want to keep up to date on all things fall sports as soon as they get here at Bellevue, download the BU Bruins app to your smartphone tonight. Did anybody else notice that I sent out a Monday show on it? It's Tuesday, in case anybody's wondering.
We don't read your stuff.
It's also time for the social media soundbite, where we go to Dan Campion and his favorite podcaster.
Let's listen.
Second of all, what misconceptions or concerns about you that you've heard in the last few weeks are you the most looking forward to dispelling when you're the coach?
It's a valid question, and I've certainly heard everything. It's been a really interesting 6 weeks or so, just in terms of being part of the engagement farming industry. It's been really interesting. However, I don't really have a great answer for your question, because I really don't give a honestly. I want to coach the Lakers. I want to coach the team. I don't want to dispel anything. I don't. I want to become a great coach in the NBA, and I want to win championships, and I want my players to maximize their careers. That's all I care about.
I was very confused what just happened there. I thought you said that. That was the newest head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, former Duke guard JJ Redick, also infamous podcaster and ESPN analyst, is now the head coach of the premier franchise in the NBA. And obviously, to the reporter's question, there's a lot of conceptions out there about why this happened and why he was given the job in the first place. I like the answer. I don't know if I like the delivery, but I don't have a problem with what he said. I mean, this is what he shouldn't be concerned with what talking heads have to say, because if you're worried about that, you're not worried about winning basketball games. He's ultimately getting hired to win basketball games.
Counterpoint.
To me, it's the right answer.
He is a talking head.
He was.
Proper counterpoint.
Artist formerly known as a talking head.
Yeah. So I think
I do love this concept, though.
It's a nice look. It's a nice thing to say. It's probably the right thing to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Most importantly,
it is absolutely not true. He absolutely cares what people think about him.
I want to be very clear. I never said I believed what he said.
Sure.
Yeah. There's a woman named Carly Simon who wrote a song that perfectly fits the situation called You're So Vain. Yeah. You know that JJ Redick cares about what people say about him. And also, if I can just have like a minute here, this is the dumbest
Your
thing
time begins
that
now.
any NBA franchise has ever done. Not selling one to Michael Jordan, none of that bullcrap. Why do you hire JJ Redick? He is a certified idiot, and all he cares about is how much gel is in my hair. What do my arm tattoos look like? And let me kiss LeBron on his behind all day, every day. Jeannie Buss, you are an idiot. Your father would have never went for this. And your father was vainer than JJ Redick. You are an idiot. You are a fool. And Rob Pelinka should be fired right now in this moment. I'm making the call. LeBron, you're gone. Rob Pelinka, you're fired. JJ Redick, you look dumb.
This is the one thing I will hold my tongue on, because a lot of what you just said, and these are not apples to apples comparison by any stretch of the imagination, but a lot of the rhetoric around Eric Spoelstra when he got that job in Miami was a lot of what you just said.
No, it was not.
Oh, it definitely was.
When Eric Spoelstra got hired by Miami,
how vain he was, how much he cared about his own image, stuff like that. It was very much said about Eric Spoelstra. And again, and I started this off with, this is not an apples to apples comparison. You have a very highly skilled, really good basketball coach that was given a job that he deserved versus a guy that played the game and hasn't coached before. Two very, very different things. But a lot of the things you just said were just very much said about Eric Spoelstra when he got that job. So that is the only reason I won't go down that path, because I was one of those people that had that thought process.
And you know what was fun about Spo when he got hired? That might have been the conversation surrounding him.
It changed immediately.
But guess who he had right behind him to help him out with every single decision and every single thing that could happen?
Yeah, that's good.
Pat Riley.
Hey,
the godfather of basketball.
JJ Redick's got Jeannie Buss. He'll be all right.
Yeah, I don't know.
I do like this concept though. I think it would be hilarious if, like, when a Nick Saban or somebody of that level at a top program walks away, if they just automatically allow somebody in the media to take that job who's like trash talked them for years to see if they can do the job better.
Hey, and I mean, listen, hiring a coach who's just been doing media for a few years always works out. Ask the Raiders and John Gruden. Ask Arizona State with
Herm Edwards.
Herm Edwards,
who literally didn't know their mascot when he walked in the door.
Right?
People forget.
It's bound to work.
But the difference between what you just said and what actually happened is those coaches had like clout to rest on to get that job. This is a guy, and granted, I mean, he's played basketball at a very high level, but we've got decades of data that prove just because you can play does not mean you can coach or own a franchise. Michael Jordan.
Barry Melrose became a coach after he'd been doing media. That worked out really well, didn't it?
Yeah, it's so hard to jump out. But again, we're not talking about a guy going from coaching into the media. This is a guy getting his first job at the premier franchise in the league, arguably top 3 franchise in all of sports, because he's the star's friend. And that is the only reason he got this job.
I'm being facetious, but when the larger point still holds. Like,
yeah,
all the people who've gone from either in the booth or in media as a talking head or whatever back into coaching, none of them have worked. Not one. And those were guys who had head coaching experience. Now you're taking a guy who went from playing the game to straight into being someone who talks about the game. And now he's going to go be a coach without having ever been on the bench of an NBA game other than as a player.
Could you take Arsenal to the championship?
Could I take Arsenal to the championship? Hell no.
Oh, okay, I'm just curious.
I'm just going to say one thing because there were rumblings around the time of his retirement, like 1 or 2 years after, that Kobe Bryant was possibly in line for the Lakers head coaching job. There were very serious conversations that were had. And you know what he said? One of the greatest basketball players we have ever seen in the sport.
Call Phil.
Said, I'd rather not. I have a daughter who I would much rather coach. And I think that is actually what I am slated to do and to be better at.
One of my favorite moments during any retirement speech ever was when they were retiring Shaq's number at Staples. And the whole crowd is just chanting, "We want Phil" at him. And he's halfway through the middle of his speech. And he just goes, "I want Phil too." It was one of the best moments in the history of the Lakers franchise. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a train wreck. I mean, even if it goes quasi well, it's still going to be a circus. I mean, with LeBron in town, now you've added JJ to the equation. This team has the bubble championship, but what's that worth? Like, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds.
Yeah. There's just one more little bow that I kind of want to put on this. So now that we've obviously seen that, like, LA management will 100% like fully kowtow to LeBron James and his wishes, because this is an obvious LeBron hire. Does this?
Why do you say that?
I don't know.
Go ahead,
I'm a crazy person, I guess.
Yeah.
Is it not fairly obvious now that the Lakers will be making the obvious decision to draft Bronny James?
Yes. And I think they're going to use their first round pick to do it.
It would not surprise me.
I said it 2 weeks ago.
They're not drafting him.
They are drafting him with their first pick. I will die on this limb. Put it on the list.
We'll
put what happened.
I will put it on the list.
Start the list and put it there. We go from the Lakers to the Yankees. What is this? Fox Sports Radio. We come back. If you missed the social media soundbite, check it out. SoundCloud.com/afterhours1620. It was brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing. If your business needs help with social media marketing, website designer, online advertising, pixelfiremarketing.com is here to help. They're located right here in Omaha. You don't have to work with a big national brand outside of the city limits to engage your business online today. Check out pixelfiremarketing.com for more information. We'll be right back. Buying or selling on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, everybody. John Schreiner here for Pyramid Roof Contractors. And this could not be more timely, as we just, within the last hour, had an enormous hailstorm pass through the metro here in Omaha. Like, we're talking like softball-sized hail in some places. And you already know that kind of a storm can do damage to your roof, and it can do damage that you may not even be able to see from looking at your roof from the outside. What you need to do, if you were affected by this recent round of hail, and I mean very recent, get a hold of Pyramid Roof. They can come out. They're going to take a look. They're going to inspect that roof. They're going to see the things that you can't see looking at your roof from down on the ground. Even if the shingles aren't loose, even if you can't see any major damage, there may be something hiding underneath there that's going to need fixing. And don't wait for the storm chasers to come by. These companies that flood into town after a major weather event, they come knock on your door. They say, "Hey, I'm Joe with ABC Roofing. We'd love to give you a free inspection." If you go with those guys, you don't know where they're from. You don't know what their motives are. Heck, you don't even know if they'll ever be back this way again. And you don't know if they can verify that their work is going to be done properly. You know who can do that? Pyramid Roof. So get to pyramidroof.com, get yourself an estimate, and get them to come out and inspect your roof today.
Block Party Planners. 4th of July is almost here. Maybe your fourth favorite niece is finally graduating after 6 years of high school. Whatever big event you have coming up, you're going to need food and a sweet treat to go along with it. You're in luck. 402 Barbecue is here to help. From the best barbecue in the 402 to a shaved ice machine, have 402 Barbecue cater your event and they'll have you covered. Call 402-618-8274 and have the 402 Barbecue truck cater your event today.
Going Vertical Basketball Academy is the premier sports performance training facility in the Midwest. Working with athletes as young as kindergarten all the way to college and the pros, GVBA offers a variety of packages from individual workouts to group sessions. They also offer elite-level sports performance training for athletes of all sports. Check out the academy at 10700 Sap Brothers Drive in Omaha or at goingverticalomaha.com. That's goingverticalomaha.com.
When you shop local, you help strengthen our community. So if you need roof repair, gutters, siding, even windows, call local Pyramid Contractors. They're the #1 roofer in Omaha for more than a dozen years. Let Pyramid Contractors come and give you a free estimate. Give them a call at 402-502-9300. That's 402-502-9300. Or visit them online at
PyramidRoof.com. Never settle for less.
Criminal, civil, personal. If you or a loved one is facing a lawsuit, let Williams Law represent you and your family today. With more than 20 years litigation experience in Nebraska, Williams Law will defend you with the dedication you deserve. If you're facing a DUI or if your son or daughter has been accused of a crime, Williams Law is here for you. Call 402-522-6317 to get a free, no-obligation consultation and to get the representation you deserve today.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go: shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
It's 7:02 on a Tuesday night here at 1620 The Zone. Jimmy Allen, John Schreiner, Dan Campen, and Connor Rhodes with you tonight. One of our new interns is in studio with us, and as is a custom here on the After Hours program, when we have an intern in studio for the first time, they must address the audience. Connor, there's only about 11,000 people listening to this. No pressure.
It's just like Fight Club. If this is your first night,
you have
to fight.
Connor, have you ever seen Fight Club? You're a movie guy.
No, I am not.
Aaron, if you're listening, he has homework tonight. It's a rated R movie, but I approve it.
Are you 17 yet?
16.
You'll be fine. It'll change your life.
It's actually not that bad of a rated R movie.
It's not. You guys asked him out.
Little butt.
Just some light violence is all.
We were doing.
It's light. You just said light violence.
we were doing our reconnaissance.
Soap. It's about a guy who sells soap.
It's just some terrorism. That's it.
We were asking. Connor told us he doesn't watch a lot of TV shows. He watches a lot of movies. You asked Dan. You unpolitely asked him his favorite movie and didn't ask me what my favorite. Fight Club is actually my favorite movie of all time. So that's full circle.
You read the book?
Yeah, it's even better.
Yeah.
But as we always do, we make our interns, we baptize them by fire, and we make them give us their hottest sports take. Connor Rhodes, the floor is yours.
All right. So this sports take hurts me because I'm a fan of this team.
Oh, okay.
So I think that Mike Tomlin's going to have his first losing season as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Because
this schedule he has is probably one of his toughest schedules.
Third toughest in the NFL. Yep.
He has Cowboys, the Chiefs. Those are the first two on my mind.
Yeah, they have to play the whole NFC East. So they got to play Philly, Dallas, a much improved Washington Commanders team.
Not if you ask ESPN.
and then a bye against the Giants.
Even the AFC North is still very hard, like the Ravens.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Browns.
Oh yeah. By the way, they got to play the Ravens, the Browns, and the Bengals twice.
So all of that's going to be hard.
Yeah.
At most a 9-8 record. I think it's going to be 8-9, but at most 9-8.
Who's the starting quarterback at the end of the season for the Steelers?
I still think it's going to be Russell Wilson.
Okay.
But after this year, it's going to be Justin Fields, and
they're both on 1-year contracts.
They are. I think Russell's going to start this year. He's going to do all right. but they're gonna have Justin start next year, and
Okay.
they might get rid of Russell. They might keep him.
I think they're both gone by the end of the season. All right, it's time for buy or sell here.
Thanks, Connor. Good job, man.
Yeah,
problem, no problem.
you didn't suck. Stay there though,
Oh, all right.
because we're gonna do buy or sell here. Dan's gonna ask us some questions. We'll get your feedback as well. Okay, so hold on to the microphone. Dan, go ahead.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. once said that he would never play for the Yankees. His entire career, he has played for the Yankees' rival, the Toronto Blue Jays. Guerrero has softened on his stance and says, this is a business. Buy or sell, it will tarnish Guerrero's legacy to play in the pinstripes.
Sell. He's 100% right. This is a business. Anybody that is anybody correctly wants to get to New York to get the big payday and play for the best franchise in sports.
Sell. Or no, I buy that it tarnishes his legacy with me, because if you come out and say something that you're never going to play for a team, and you go back on it and say, well, it's a business. I got to make the money. I got to play for that team that I have. No, you made a statement and now you're going back on it. Your legacy with me is tarnished.
I just want to see Vladdy in the Yankees uniform.
Yeah, of course you do.
Can I just
baseball's
ask,
over. It's
I'm just going to
canceled.
ask the serious question. How the heck would they, with their current roster, even pay Vladimir Guerrero Jr. what he's worth?
Because they have
what he would ask for.
They have infinite amount of money in New York, Dan. Here's a blank check. Just go ahead and write it. Let us know what we got to do. Give us your glove size, pant size. We'll have the uniform for you.
I mean,
buy, sell. Does it tarnish his legacy for you?
I buy. It tarnishes his legacy.
You guys are idiots.
If,
Connor,
if you're going to play baseball and you're going to have that hard of a stance, you got to keep
He was very adamant about it.
I think buy. I think it might tarnish his legacy.
All right, that's the last question you could ask.
Three
Dan.
on one. 3 on 1. 3 on 1.
Dan, next question.
In ESPN's most recent mock draft, they have Creighton's Baylor Shireman going 29th overall to the Utah Jazz. Buy or sell, Shireman will go in the first round.
I buy, and I think he's actually going to go higher than that. I think Utah is a really good fit for him. He can get some good dining tips from Stephen Ashworth when he gets there, but I think he goes before that. He's turned a lot of heads with his ability to shoot the 3-point shot, and that's what a lot of teams in the top 17 need. I think Baylor Shireman's going to go before 20.
I don't know about before 20, but I have been saying it for a while now that I think he was going to sneak into the back end of the first round, and I'm sticking with it. I think he's a first rounder.
Connor, you a big hoops guy?
Creighton, yes.
Okay.
I think buy. I don't think before 20, but I do think that he'll be in the top 20.
Good take by you.
Yeah, I hope Baylor Shireman goes in the top 10. I know he won't, probably, but
wow, I thought I was going on.
I mean, I like Baylor Shireman. I mean, he's been very open and honest with just straight up stating, hey, I came back to Creighton for one reason and one reason only, and it was to raise my NBA draft stock and to try to win an NCAA championship. He didn't
Knicks at
do one of
24.
those things, and
I don't hate that pick.
Oh, Baylor Shireman in New York would be fun.
Yeah, he would be loved. By
Also,
that crowd
just
too.
don't pick Baylor Shireman. You're going to ruin this man like you ruin every other person who
I
you've
thought-
ever had on your franchise who is not named John Stockton or Karl Malone.
I thought you were going to give there's too many white people in Utah already stance. Sports Illustrated
I
has
could.
Trey Alexander going 53rd overall to Golden State, by the way, which I think is interesting. Dan?
We talked earlier about the Stanley Cup playoffs. The Edmonton Oilers are the early betting favorite to win it all next season. The way too early betting favorite
Way too
to
early.
win it next season. Buy or sell that the Flashers from Canada will hoist Lord Stanley's Cup next
Dan,
season.
there are underage children in the room. You can't be talking about flashers in Canada. Come on.
He's 16. He knows what's going on.
He's talking
been
about
to a
emergency
professional sporting event at least
lights.
once.
I am buying that they are, and it's for the reason we talked about earlier. It's Connor McDavid. He's the best player in hockey. I think they are the preseason. They should be the preseason favorite to hoist the cup.
I'm going to sell because I don't think that roster is going to stay intact. I think it's going to be there's going to be some turnover for Edmonton. And look, I don't see Florida losing anything. That
they're
team
gonna
is
be
really
next year,
good.
too.
So I'm not a big hockey guy, but from coming down 3-0, and that's really big coming up 3-0.
Yeah, they're down 3-0.
Yeah, they were down 3-0. Coming back from that, that's really good. Was it Connor
McDavid?
Connor McJesus.
Connor McJesus to you.
So,
all right, you have two homework to do tonight. You have to watch Fight Club and Connor McDavid highlights, and come back next week with an assessment on both.
I can watch Connor McDavid. I can watch that.
Okay. Yeah. There aren't parental rights for that.
I will buy on this. I think they'll host the trophy. I think they will.
Dan.
I think the San Jose Sharks are my betting favorite for next season.
What?
They've got the first pick in this year's NHL draft.
Why don't you take the Atlanta Thrashers, Dan? They probably have about as good a chance as the Sharks.
Probably.
I was gonna say the Wings, but I don't trust my own team.
I
So
thought there was a Phoenix Coyotes joke coming when you paused like that. Give us the last one, Dan.
No. All right. Kazuyoshi Miura is still going. The 57-year-old former Japanese national soccer team member has joined a new club for next season, his 39th in professional soccer. He's 57.
It's 5'7", folks.
He will join Atletico Suzuka in Japan's 4th tier because he's looking for more playing time. Buy or sell that King Kazu is embarrassing us by being way older than us and way more athletic.
Yeah, that's insane. I had to retire from playing rec league soccer at age 38 because I got too many injuries. He's playing professionally still at age 57. My face is red. I am so embarrassed.
I hurt my back opening the door of the studio tonight. So I will not be participating in any professional sports either. That's incredible, though, man. I mean, even if it is the 4th tier, it's still very, very, very high level soccer. It's an incredible feat.
Yeah, the fact that someone that old is still playing a professional sport is just hats off to them. And
take that, LeBron James.
Makes me wish that I was in much better shape. Extremely much better shape.
I think that's crazy. I wonder what he eats.
Rice.
I wonder what he
Lots of rice.
Sushi.
Yeah.
So much bean paste.
Had sushi yesterday. It was amazing.
My stepdad, Brad, he's 54.
He's in good shape. He's in good shape.
He is, but he can hardly. No.
Say it. No, you gotta say it. Man. Say it, Connor. Say it.
He can hardly get off the couch. He's going all the time to get off the couch.
You just upset half of our listening audience. Hey, if you missed the buy or sell segment tonight, check it out at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620. It was brought to you by Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. It's that time of year. The rain is here. The weather's hitting 100 degrees, and people are getting married. And if you want to be the best dressed guy at the wedding, you have to attend this weekend. There's no better place to stop than Jerry Ryan, centrally located on 78th and Dodge. They've been dressing Omaha for over 50 years. You don't do that by accident. Get the best suit buying experience in the Midwest with our friends Dan, John, the crew over at Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sports Store. Stop by tomorrow. Tell them that After Hours sent you over there. Nebraska nice. Is it a negative? We'll debate when we come back on 1620 Zone.
Hey, everybody. John Schreiner here. Do you have a home that you're trying to get off the market? I'm here to tell you that Amber Best Real Estate with Berkshire Hathaway is the way for you to go. It doesn't matter if you're trying to build a portfolio through some rental properties or some investment properties that you may be looking at, or if you've got a home that you want to sell, or if maybe you're just not getting the answers you need from your current relationship with an agent. What you need to do is get a hold of Amber Best. Go to amberbest.com. Get the advice you're looking for. She is someone who's been in the real estate game for 5 years. She has her own investment properties. She can tell you the ins, the outs, the ups, the downs, the do's, and the don'ts. Whether you need something complicated, whether you need something just as simple as getting your house sold quickly, Amber is here to help you. Get to amberbest.com. That's BESS.com and get your house off the market today.
Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
A heat advisory into this evening. The temperature in the 90s, the triple-digit heat index. Severe storms are possible later tonight. We'll see lows dropping down into the upper 60s. Hail and high winds are possible with the storms. And then a sunny, pleasant Wednesday with a high of 87. I'm Chief Meteorologist Bill Ranby from KETV Newswatch 7.
Criminal, civil, personal. If you or a loved one is facing a lawsuit, let Williams Law represent you and your family today. With more than 20 years litigation experience in Nebraska, Williams Law will defend you with the dedication you deserve. If you're facing a DUI or if your son or daughter has been accused of a crime, Williams Law is here for you. Call 402-522-6317 to get a free, no-obligation consultation and to get the representation you deserve today.
Block Party Planners. 4th of July is almost here. Maybe your fourth favorite niece is finally graduating after 6 years of high school. Whatever big event you have coming up, you're going to need food and a sweet treat to go along with it. You're in luck. 402 Barbecue is here to help. From the best barbecue in the 402 to a shaved ice machine, have 402 Barbecue cater your event and they'll have you covered. Call 402-618-8274 and have the 402 Barbecue truck cater your event today.
Don't keep up with the Joneses. Blow the Joneses out of the water and have everyone talking about your house this summer. Let Forsman's Finest Decks come build you a deck, put a cover on it, and give your house the much-needed facelift it deserves. Forsman's Finest Decks has been improving homes in the Omaha area for more than half a decade. With over 135 five-star reviews, you're not going to regret your decision to enjoy the finer things. Check out Forsman'sFinest.com and have your dream deck built this summer. Forsman's Finest Decks, building the finest decks in Omaha.
Are you watching the water slowly seep down the drain again? Go with a local solution. Go with Trusted. AX Plumbing is here to help. With over 20 years of serving the metro area, AX Plumbing can do it all, from residential to commercial. They can even help with the new build installation service. Head over to axpservice.com today. There's financing available to qualified buyers and military discount too. Check out axpservice.com today. AX Plumbing. They'll leave your place cleaner than they found it.
That's the sound of steak searing in its juices on your new pellet grill. You heard that right. The Weber Searwood Pellet Grill can smoke low and slow at 180 degrees all the way to a high heat sear at 600. With the Weber Searwood, you can cook on the direct flame over the full grate sear zone. You'll hear the gasp of amazement from friends and family when you serve the food. Cooking with the Weber Searwood Pellet Grill just sounds delicious and tastes even better.
Now back to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
Welcome to the cooking hour on 1620 The Zone.
Yeah,
Jimmy
what's for
Allen.
dinner?
Jimmy Allen, John Schreiner, Dave Kim. I feel like this show would have a better take on that than the show prior. Hashtag shots fired.
Considering that we get way more hungry like right after the
That's a
show.
good point. It's a good point. We usually know what we're having for dinner too. That helps. Nebraska Nice. Is it a negative thing? So EA Sports has released their top 25 most difficult places to play in this alleged football game that's coming in July when College Football 25 comes out. Noticeably missing is Memorial Stadium in Lincoln. Now, it's been a long-running tradition of welcoming other fans and wishing them good luck and clapping when the other team comes on the field. There's a lot of people around here and maybe nationally that feel like that necessarily isn't the best thing when it comes to determining the wins and the losses that occur on Saturdays. Where would you consider Memorial Stadium a top 25 difficult place to play in the country? Because I don't think I would.
Not anymore. And there's one simple reason. A lot of teams have come into Memorial Stadium and won.
That's a good point.
That, and I do have to say, John, every time I've gone to a game in Memorial Stadium, we get down by 2 touchdowns and the crowd just like flatlines immediately.
I think you might be able to say that about a lot of places, though, that would be considered tough places to play. Here's the thing. Nebraska fans have been acting the same way for a long time. And in the 1900s, Memorial Stadium was one of the toughest places to go and win. It was a difficult environment to play in. It was a place that nobody really wanted to go play. And the fans were the same.
Yeah, it's a good point.
What makes a place a difficult place to win is whether or not you can go and win there. Yeah. And a lot of teams have come to Lincoln and won. So no, it's not all that difficult to win there.
And we talked about Matt Rule's press conference to open the show up tonight, but the one thing we didn't talk about was his tip of the cap to Kirk Ferentz about understanding wind and the elements and how much throwing into a 35-mile-an-hour wind can determine the outcome of a game just as much as getting the kickoff at halftime can. And I really wonder how much, when we look at the old Big 8, the Big 12, and those teams coming from further away and playing in a different element and not having that experience of throwing into the wind and the elements in which you play in Nebraska in October and November, not having to deal with that. And then jumping into the Big 12, where almost across the board up until about 11 months ago, you had just about everybody that was dealing with those same conditions and experience playing in it, and how much that has really changed the way Nebraska is able to conduct business too. And now you have a head coach that's kind of learning that lay of the land on the fly as well.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and I don't think I disagree. The point that I'm trying to make is that there's something to be said about the fans and the atmosphere.
I'm not saying I disagree with you, by the way.
But the team on the field is what makes a stadium a tough place to play.
Yeah.
Right? When you can field a team that is very hard to beat, and when they're playing at home with their home crowd behind them, that's what makes it a tough place to play. Right? When you have a good football team with a crowd that's engaged, tough place to win.
Yeah.
Nebraska has had one of two of those things.
Well, and it's one of those things, like Dan, you pointed it out, when they fall behind 2 touchdowns or whatever, the crowd kind of goes silent. That happens a lot of places. And This list was really interesting because they have Gaylord Family Field in Oklahoma's Memorial Stadium as number 8 on this list. As somebody that's been to that field twice, I don't agree with that. I don't even know if I'd put them in the top 25, let alone in the top 10 tough places to play. I don't necessarily disagree with too many other spots on this list. Lane Stadium being at 17 is probably because of Virginia Tech taking such a step back in the talent on the field, to your point, because I'd probably put that as a top 10 place versus number 17 on this list. But you've got both Boise State and Mississippi State on this list, and Mississippi State obviously has that element with the cowbell,
turf.
Mississippi State with the cowbells,
Yeah.
and the different white noise that you hear in that stadium. Then obviously with Boise State, it's the turf and adjusting that too. And I think those two things, maybe as opposed to crowd noise, is what makes the difference for those two spots.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. And it's also about the records of those teams in their home building over, I don't know what period of time you want to look at, but I would imagine it's pretty good. Those teams win at home quite a lot. They don't get beat on their home field a bunch. And that's honestly, when I look at this list, I'm like, yeah, all these teams win their home games. Like that's what we see.
Yeah.
The only one that I would question is like Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech hasn't been very good.
That's what I said. I think they're at 17 because they haven't been good. But I mean, when they are on, that place is as tough to play as when you hear Enter Sandman, and that place is as tough as a place to get a win as anywhere else in the country. The other Big Ten schools show up on this list: Ohio State at 4, Penn State at 6, Camp Randall in Wisconsin at 7, Oregon and Autzen Stadium at 11, Michigan at 16, the Big House, Iowa at 20, Michigan State at 22, and that rounds it out for the Big Ten. I think we've talked about this, Dan. I don't think we've gotten your take though. When we're talking about college football 25 coming out, and you start dynasty mode, who's your team?
So
he wasn't here for this discussion, right? I think that was Ben.
I think it was Ben. Yeah.
I think it was Ben. So back in the day, I mean, I haven't played one of the college football games since I think Braylon Edwards was on the cover. So I think that was 04, maybe 05.
05. Yeah, you're right.
Was it Braylon? It was either that or the Pittsburgh guy. I can't remember.
Larry Fitzgerald?
Yeah.
Then it definitely wasn't Larry Fitzgerald, because I would remember that.
That was the Pittsburgh guy, by the way.
So I was always a big Mac guy. For some reason, I always picked Ohio.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to like
Frankies.
raise Ohio up as much as I possibly could. And then if I was ever playing against my friends, I would always pick Michigan just to whoop them. Because I knew I would go Hail Mary every play. I was not a very good play caller. I was young. I was dumb. I was like, Hail Mary, press the B button. That's going right to Braylon Allen's about 60 yards down the field every time it was a touchdown.
Connor, come back up and grab the microphone for a second, because this gives us a good insight to who you are as a person. You are not of the generation of EA Sports College Football. It's been missing for a decade now. Have you played one of the games previously?
No.
Okay. So you get the opportunity to experience this for the first time if you do so choose to do so. If you're starting a dynasty and need to win a national championship at a school, and it's not a Power 5 school, what school are you picking? This defines you as a character and as a person. There is a wrong answer to this.
5.
Let's let Connor think, and I'll tell you who I'm going to pick.
You've already told me this, though. I mean, we've had this. Okay, you give me your answer. We'll let Connor.
We were like narrowing it down.
Sure.
And I think
because there are more options now.
Yep, there are more options now. And my choice, my number one dynasty team is going to be Old Dominion.
Okay, I don't hate it. Have you given it thought?
I don't know many like teams that aren't Power 5s.
Okay,
that's the thing.
I think I'm going to go with Rice. I think
that Rice is a classic favorite.
Yeah. They're horrible, and
but they're in Texas.
But they are. It's a recruiting bed.
Yeah,
that is basically you're going to get what's left over from all the other schools, and
that's
still a good spot to be in.
You're in Houston, so you've got Texas and Louisiana right there.
Yeah,
I mean, I just always loved playing as the MAC schools. I would do
did
Ohio.
Too.
I would do the 3 Michigans. Although
Michigan.
I always hated doing Eastern. That was always a horrible one. But doing Central.
One of my
and
favorites.
Screaming out, "Fire up, Chips!"
was Middle Tennessee State.
Yeah, always awful.
Yeah, MTSU.
The one school that I think is going to be a favorite, though, just because of their recent success.
James Madison.
No. I think it's going to be Tulane. For the same reasons you just threw out there. Hot recruiting bed. They've had success lately. Have you come to an answer?
Is Louisiana Tech a Power 5 school?
No, they're not.
Louisiana Tech.
Okay, there you go. Go Dogs.
That's a good one.
Okay. Tim Rattay would be proud of you. I have a hot take at who I think may be the next head baseball coach at Texas A&M, and I think it's going to surprise some people. If you haven't heard, the head coaching position at College Station has been vacated.
Well, not officially.
One day, reports have come out that Jim Schlossnagle is leaving for Austin and the rival Longhorns. I'm going to tell you who I think should take his job when we come back on the other side of the break. If you missed that segment, check it out at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620. It was brought to you by our friends at Williams Law. Let Bob Williams defend you and your loved ones if you've been wrongfully accused. Maybe you're facing a DUI charge and have some questions. Maybe your son's been out there getting in trouble like Connor and his friends have been. They're in a little bit of a hot mess. You need some legal options. Get a free, no obligation, free consultation with Williams Law today at 402-522-6317. Get the answers you're looking for with Bob Williams with Williams Law at 402-522-6317 tonight. We will be right back discussing the Texas A&M head coaching job on 1620 The Zone.
The dream of playing the sport you love may be closer than you think. The Bellevue University Athletic Department proudly sports the best scholarship funding among NAIA programs in the state. To compete with the best, we need to recruit the best. All incoming freshmen earn a $5,000 scholarship when they enroll at Bellevue University. Learn more by looking us up at BUBruins.com and reach out to your future coach today.
Are you ready to elevate your taste buds? Look no further than Pepper Jacks, your go-to destination for bold flavors and endless choices. Dive into their mouth-watering rice bowls, crisp salads, hearty Phillies, savory burritos, and loaded nachos. What sets them apart? Complete customization. Choose your base, proteins, toppings, and sauces for a personalized culinary adventure. At Pepper Jacks, it's not just a meal, it's an experience. Unleash your cravings and savor the bold tastes at Pepper Jacks today. Life's too short for bland. Spice it up at Pepper Jacks.
Don't keep up with the Joneses. Blow the Joneses out of the water and have everyone talking about your house this summer. Let Forsman's Finest Decks come build you a deck, put a cover on it, and give your house the much-needed facelift it deserves. Forsman's Finest Decks has been improving homes in the Omaha area for more than half a decade. With over 135 five-star reviews, you're not going to regret your decision to enjoy the finer things. Check out Forsman'sFinest.com and have your dream deck built this summer. Forsman's Finest Decks, building the finest decks in Omaha.
Are you dreaming of your business dominating local Google searches, drawing in customers effortlessly? Look no further. I'm Courtney, the Google gal from Pixel Fire Marketing. Need assistance with your Google business profile? From verification to getting more reviews, fixing maps to tackling annoying Google calls? I've got you covered. Your profile sets you apart and ensures you're the top choice for local customers. Visit fixmygbp.com for our $297 special offer. Visit fixmygbp.com for more details.
Are you watching the water slowly seep down the drain again? Go with a local solution. Go with Trusted. AX Plumbing is here to help. With over 20 years of serving the metro area, AX Plumbing can do it all, from residential to commercial. They can even help with the new build installation service. Head over to axpservice.com today. There's financing available to qualified buyers and military discount too. Check out axpservice.com today. AX Plumbing. They'll leave your place cleaner than they found it.
O'Reilly. Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Were you uninvited to game night? Do you play board games with the ferocious intensity of an iron-fisted oligarch? Have friends left game night asking, how do you sleep at night? Then you should get a mattress from Mattress Firm. They can help anyone sleep. Get to Mattress Firm's July 4th sale and save $500 on Tempur-Breeze mattresses. Plus, get a $300 instant gift. All with free and fast delivery. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Now back to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
$7:32 on a Tuesday night here on 1620 Zone as the clouds roll out of the Omaha area. Hopefully you weren't affected too harshly by the storm. So I'm getting a lot of pictures sent in to us from listeners in the South Omaha and the Bellevue community, and our thoughts with everybody out there. Hopefully everybody's safe tonight. Breaking news before we came on the air tonight. Oh, thanks, Dan. I mean, probably where we should have went with our social media soundbite, going with the news that was going on. The post conference yesterday with Jim Schlossnagle is rumored, according to Chip Brown with 24/7 Sports, to be taking the head coaching job in Austin and going from Texas A&M to Texas to take the job at the rival school. Okay. Which obviously is going to leave a very open vacancy in College Station. I told you before we went to break, I have a hot take on who I think should take this job. And
Rob Childress.
No, it is somebody that I don't think right now anybody thinks should leave their position.
Scott Frost.
It is Scott Frost. I think he should leave Arizona and head down to I really think Link Jarrett should look at
leaving Florida State.
Look at the long-term plan
where he played.
And it has his roots down. But here's the thing. If he wants to keep coaching baseball, and there's a lot of rumor out there that Florida State is entertaining the idea of coming to the Big Ten. And if you haven't seen what happens to baseball programs when they leave the South and go to the Big Ten, look at what happened in Nebraska post the Big 12 heading to the Big Ten. And obviously, you now have the additions of UCLA and USC, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But if Link Jarrett wants to continue to coach for as long as it seems like he does, and really is looking at the future and the lay of the land, and obviously there's still the interest from Florida State and the SEC. But if that doesn't happen and Florida State joins the Big Ten, I really think it would be in Link Jarrett's. I don't think he stays at Florida State. And I don't know if a job of this magnitude is going to open up again in the near future, I don't know if it's necessarily a bad idea for him to look at jumping ship now.
I don't think Jarrett's leaving Florida State.
I don't either, but I think he should consider it.
And I think it's different with Florida State because they are actually in the South. They're not just in a conference with teams in the South.
Sure. That's a good point.
They could still play home games in March and be just fine.
I still think they take a massive step back.
And I think
they and would still probably dominate the league.
Yeah. Well, the Big Ten teams would love it because they could go play Florida State early on in the season and not have to worry about weather.
Yeah, hopefully you don't want the Big Ten tournament to stay in Omaha.
We're starting conference play at the beginning of the year, and everybody gets a rotation going to Tallahassee.
Let's put everybody up at Disney Village, and everybody can take the 2.5-hour drive.
No, but this Schlossnagle news is interesting. You kind of hinted at it based on what he said at the press conference last night when a reporter asked him about the rumors and was like, there's a very conspicuous opening and there's been some rumors flying about you. And
well, the AD at Texas jumped on a plane after firing their coach, and the flight tracker said it was coming to Omaha. So
I don't know if that's actually true.
And this is all alleged.
Yeah.
From one Richard G. West.
Okay, the thing you have to know about Richard,
one breaking news reporter in South Knoxville.
He is a troll.
He
just lies about things and makes things up and puts them out there.
Well, then.
A lot of people have been tricked by Richard G. West.
Richard G. West confirmed John Schreiner liar, said that Del Conte, the AD of Texas, told his staff that he's not coming back to Austin without Texas A&M coach Jim Schlossnagle.
Well, apparently,
so
he may not have actually said that, but that's what happened. But the interesting thing about Jim Schlossnagle, and to what you were just about to say, is he talked about it last night. He's from the Fort Worth area. He left his job at TCU to take this job in College Station, and now he's going to go from being the head coach at TCU to the head coach at Texas A&M to being the head coach at Texas at one of the most pivotal moments in Texas athletics history, jumping from the Big 12 to the SEC, which, by the way, Texas A&M is waiting there for them. And now they're going to have to play Jim Schlossnagle every single year.
Yeah. What Schloss did last night, though,
it was a little out of line.
I mean, he didn't go so far. Some people were saying he berated the reporter, and I don't think it was that strong.
If you read what he said out of context, I could see how you get there. But how he said it was completely different.
You guys want to hear it again?
Yeah, you got it.
Go play it, Dan.
Say about your future and
It was that was such a weird, that part at the end where he's like, I've given it every ounce that I could possibly give it. Sounded like he was done. Like everything else sounded like he wasn't leaving until he said that. So it was very weird. And the comment about asking a player if they're going to enter the draft, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
This is not something that is like a stranger.
It's not unfair
to press conferences. There you go. Easy for me to say.
Yeah.
This is a guy that mentioned 3 things that are commonly asked at press conferences and said they weren't commonly asked. It was very weird all the way around. And then to get this news today, I don't know. This is why Nick Saban was never leaving Miami for Alabama, and you just can't believe coaches when they tell you this stuff.
It just the way he answered the question was also like it was a disrespectful question, right? That he felt disrespected for having to answer to these rumors, and then to come around on the backside of it and to realize that, the conversations were probably already happening. No matter the outcome of that game last night, the conversations were probably already happening.
The top post on Texas A&M's message boards today, the first article or first post, the title is Fire Alberts. So people in College Station,
Welcome
not,
to the club.
Not very happy with their new athletic director and him taking.
And it makes you ask the question though: does Jim Schlossnagle not like what's happening with the new athletic director?
Well, I don't think so. I think it's a lot more with the amount of money that Texas is going to have to be able to pay him. But a lot, like, you got to remember, Texas A&M just agreed to upgrade their baseball stadium for an $80 million project as well, based on Jim Schlossnagle being the head coach there. Now, have we hit a complete full circle if Trev Alberts has to put pause on a stadium renovation project at his new school, like was done as soon as he left Lincoln? But how he handles this is going to be so interesting, because when you fire Scott Frost and you hire Matt Rule in Lincoln, it's looked at a little bit differently, because you're one of us. You're from here. Your name's on the stadium. You played here. It's looked at with trusting eyes no matter what. You've now lost a head coach that was literally 24 hours ago playing for a national championship. You're not from Texas. This, to your point, doesn't look great on you. This decision that he's about to make and this hire that he's going to have to put into fruition is going to be a big deal for Trev Alberts' tenure in College Station.
Well, I mean, the good news for Trev is Jim Schlossnagle made Texas A&M into a premier.
Yeah, it's a destination job for sure.
Like, there's going to be a lot of guys that they can look at for this job that are really good coaches that might want to come take it. We
opened it up with me talking about Link Jarrett possibly being one of the candidates.
Well, you're notorious for your level-headed takes.
Sure,
so.
but I mean, and I'm not saying it from that Texas A&M is a better job than Florida State, because that's not even debatable. I think Florida State is obviously the better job. I'm talking about it. The only reason that Link Jarrett will ever even consider leaving Tallahassee is because of the conference. And if it's to the SEC, you can just go ahead and build the statue around Link Jarrett now, because he's out. If it's to the Big Ten, I think it's a conversation that will be. Not only Link Jarrett and probably the Texas and then the Florida State athletic department.
There's a guy who nearly got his team to the College World Series, who's built a program over a period of time, and he's not too far away.
You think they kick tires on Will Bolt?
I don't know. I don't know what his relationship with Trev is.
Okay.
Pete Hughes at Kansas State.
Oh, okay.
That team was close. They were very close to making it to the College World Series with significantly fewer resources than what would be available at Texas A&M. Significantly less fertile recruiting grounds in Manhattan, Kansas than College Station. That's somebody that I could see being in the mix for that.
This obviously kickstarts the coaching carousel, and to keep it kind of with a local flavor, I wonder how a guy like Mark Raridan, who's now at Western Kentucky, that was previously at Iowa Western, gets viewed, because obviously a ton of success at the JUCO level, understands what it takes to build a program. I'm not saying at Texas A&M. I think that's obviously
you're going to need the Power 5 experience.
Way too big of a jump. But if somebody is pulled out of a Power 5 spot to take that job in College Station, I wonder how much guys like that maybe don't have exactly a ton of D1 success or experience, but had a ton of success building programs and establishing them. He's a name that I think is going to be brought up on a lot of people's short list in the interim until either he decides to stay at Western Kentucky and they build that thing into something, or he leaves sooner rather than later.
There's another guy who's in the state of Texas already who I would absolutely make him say no. It's Tim Tadlock at Texas Tech, who's taken teams to the College World Series before, has had a lot of success. I think you call that guy and make him say no.
I agree with you. The one thing that I wonder, though, is so often we see athletic directors fire the tall coach to hire the small coach. I wonder if they just want to go get somebody from outside of the state as best they can to maybe get a little bit of the shine off of Jim Schlossnagle and say, hey, listen, we could do this with somebody that we went out and we made one of ours and wasn't already established somewhere else. And I think that's the complete wrong way to do it. And I'm with you. But oftentimes, for no reason whatsoever, sometimes out of pettiness, and I don't think that's the case. I don't think Trev's been there long enough for that to be the case. We do see stuff like that happen.
Oh, for sure. There's no doubt about that. And look,
Dan, are you going to apply?
Sure. I can coach a baseball team.
You got nothing else better to do between March and June?
Will they let me rip heaters in the dugout?
I think.
Can I get my Leland on?
Nope. They don't do that anymore.
I think you need.
You can't even chew tobacco.
I think you need to
really
get yourself the best contract you can and get fired, because there's a ton of money in being a fired coach in college athletics.
Yeah, but that $2.7 million, that's going right to Texas A&M. That's not going in my pocket.
That's a good point. Hey, if you missed that segment tonight, want to find out which head coach I think should take the job in College Station, check it out at soundcloud.com/after-hours1620. It was brought to you by Forsman's Finest Decks. You don't have to keep up with the Joneses. Blow them out of the water and be the dominant force on your block and be the conversation piece of your neighbors by letting Forsman's Finest Decks come build you a deck, put a cover on, and add that something your house has been missing. Head over to forsmansfinest.com and have your dream deck built this summer. We'll be right back, closing out shop and winning you some money on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, everybody. John Schreiner here for Cunningham's Pub. We know you missed Wing Wednesday. We went away for a little bit. Guess what? It's back, and it's called Wing and Whiskey Wednesday, as we've partnered with Cunningham's Pub to bring it back to you. So what are we going to be doing? Well, Derek and the crew are going to be coming in just as they did right before we went away for our College World Baseball Tournament hiatus. Yep, that's what it's called now. But Derek and the crew are going to come in. They're going to educate us on what their latest and greatest in the alcohol scene is at Cunningham's Pub, one of their two great locations, Old Mill, Blackstone. And they're also going to talk to us about some of the great things they have going on the menu. Last time we got to try those smoked wings. They were incredible. And I would highly recommend that you get out and try some of those smoked wings from Cunningham's as well. So be looking for us tomorrow. Wing and Whiskey Wednesday. Derek and the crew will be in studio to talk to us. And there's going to be a chance for you to get a $25 gift card every Wing Wednesday. Stop by Cunningham's Pub at Old Mill or Blackstone. Grab some drinks, grab some wings tonight.
Are you looking to be part of a winning tradition? The Bellevue University Bruins could be the right fit for you. Whether on the court or on the field, track or course, our student athletes strive and succeed. This year, Bellevue teams and individuals have combined to win 11 conference championships, with 8 teams qualifying for their national tournaments. Plus, nearly 50 student athletes were also named to all conference teams. Find out more about our tradition of excellence at BUBruins.com.
Jerry Ryan Clothing has been dressing Omaha for over 50 years. Located at 78th and Dodge, they've got you covered for your summer events. Let Johnny O, Mizzen and Maine, Roan, and Peter Millar take care of golf, office, or a night on the town looks. Whether it's a golf polo for the course or completely updating your business casual wardrobe, do it in style. Let Dan, John, Jake, or Deanna take care of your look for any event. As always, free alterations by Mona the Tailor. It's Jerry Ryan Clothing, 78th and Dodge.
When you shop local, you help strengthen our community. So if you need roof repair, gutters, siding, even windows, call local Pyramid Contractors. They're the #1 roofer in Omaha for more than a dozen years. Let Pyramid Contractors come and give you a free estimate. Give them a call at 402-502-9300. That's 402-502-9300. Or visit them online at
PyramidRoof.com. Never settle for less.
Are you ready to elevate your taste buds? Look no further than Pepper Jacks, your go-to destination for bold flavors and endless choices. Dive into their mouth-watering rice bowls, crisp salads, hearty Phillies, savory burritos, and loaded nachos. What sets them apart? Complete customization. Choose your base, proteins, toppings, and sauces for a personalized culinary adventure. At Pepper Jacks, it's not just a meal, it's an experience. Unleash your cravings and savor the bold tastes at Pepper Jacks today. Life's too short for bland. Spice it up at Pepper Jacks.
Are you watching the water slowly seep down the drain again? Go with a local solution. Go with Trusted. AX Plumbing is here to help. With over 20 years of serving the metro area, AX Plumbing can do it all, from residential to commercial. They can even help with the new build installation service. Head over to axpservice.com today. There's financing available to qualified buyers and military discount too. Check out axpservice.com today. AX Plumbing. They'll leave your place cleaner than they found it.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/radio and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
You are listening to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
All right, we're going to pivot a little bit because there's not a whole lot going on betting-wise.
Lies.
Within the continental U.S.
John's got soccer picks.
Also lies. Copa America is happening in this country.
No, it's not.
Have you heard about Atlanta?
A little bit of a practice that I wanted to talk about because kind of to piggyback off the Florida State to the Big Ten thing. I think what we're going to see, and I've been pretty adamant about this since the beginning, whenever the dust settles on conference realignment and we get these two large brands that we now know as the Big Ten and the SEC, I think are going to have conferences within them. And I think it's going to get back to regional formatting. So if in a perfect world, what I want to do here is I want to paint the picture for Nebraska, what the perfect conference would look like for Nebraska football. And we can do it based on rivalries, regionality, just the big names, however you want to do it. How many teams do we want to stick to here?
The one I drew up has 12 teams.
12 teams. That's not fair, Dan. You want to do 12 teams?
Sure.
Okay. You want to go ahead and start us off?
Sure.
All right. What do you got?
So I made mine up, and I realized something.
You forgot to include Nebraska?
Nope.
Okay.
My conference looks very familiar to a former conference.
I think we're going to have very similarity answers here.
Because basically mine is the Big 12 minus Baylor and Texas Tech plus Wisconsin and Iowa.
Okay.
So it starts with the old Big 8, Nebraska, Iowa State, Kansas, Kansas State, Missouri, Colorado, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State. That's where mine starts.
Okay.
Just for all those old traditional rivalry games, right? For the history's sake, we start with the Big 8. Then we add, because we live in a media world, we need eyeballs, Texas and Texas A&M. Two big fan bases. I know Texas is a pain, but for when we're talking about media rights deals, which is what conferences are about now, you need big fan bases and you need teams that are going to draw big. And Texas A&M will absolutely do that. So, and look, Nebraska had some great rivalries with Texas and Texas A&M over the years of the Big 12.
Agreed.
Even though we tended to hate Texas and felt like they were the engineers of the downfall of the conference.
Because they were. Right, wrong, or indifferent.
There was a lot of drama between the two that made it interesting.
Sure.
And then I chuck out Texas Tech and Baylor and bring in,
rightfully so, by the way,
Wisconsin and Iowa. For the rivalries that have been built since Nebraska moved to the Big Ten, which I think are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Which have a lot of great storylines as far as proximity and that. So my 12-team conference is essentially the Big 12 minus Tech and Baylor plus Wisconsin and Iowa. And I think that's the ideal conference for Nebraska.
So mine was similar, but it was more with a mixture of Nebraska, or excuse me, of the Big 10 and the Big 12 for the standpoint that I wanted to leave the teams that are in the SEC there because I think that is going to be the divide. I think it is going to be very much the North and the South.
I don't want to leave them there.
So what I did is I did Nebraska, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, Kansas, Kansas State, Iowa State, Colorado, Notre Dame, Oklahoma State, Northwestern, and Indiana. I really like the Nebraska-Northwestern rivalry. I think there have been some really good games about that. When you talk about the Illinois-Indiana market, if you throw Notre Dame into the equation, I think Indiana probably has to come with them, if not both Purdue as well. I left Purdue out of the equation just because nobody cares about Purdue. But I hate that field, and I don't ever want to play on
Zach Edey's gone, so no one cares
That's
about
right.
Purdue.
I was also kind of thinking about like football, obviously primarily, but other sports as well. And the way I've drawn it up, you have a pretty good basketball conference as well.
That's a good point.
You've got Kansas State, Colorado's had some recent success. Oklahoma State's had success over the years. Wisconsin, Iowa, Texas, recently Texas A&M. Like, pretty good basketball conference. It's an elite wrestling conference.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And then, like, women's sports are also very good as well. I mean, we left out Baylor, even though, like, they're a women's basketball power, but so is Texas.
And recently been a pretty darn good
Oklahoma is a
football program,
women's
too.
basketball power.
Dan, your ideal 12 or 11 plus Nebraska?
I did this incorrectly.
Okay. Well, that's fine, because I think it could have been done several different
Incorrect is also correct.
Yeah, because I just straight up slated them into the current Big 12.
Oh, right.
Oh, okay.
I just said I think it would be perfect to slate them into the current Big 12. But if I were taking it from your guys' perspective, and what you did, I would go Iowa, Iowa State, Kansas State, probably Texas A&M. I'm leaving Texas off because F them.
Yeah.
I would go
Orange down,
Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Iowa State.
You got two more.
And then so this is where it gets.
You don't want Colorado?
This is where it gets a little bit tough, because if Colorado fires Deion Sanders, then I would accept
want him?
Colorado.
Yeah. Oh, you want him then? Okay.
I want them if they don't have Deion.
Okay.
Now,
I want them if they do. For
you know what?
Media rights.
I'll throw Colorado in there just for fun.
Sure.
And then my dark horse that I've been thinking of during this entire conversation.
Can I throw it out who I think you're going to say?
Go ahead.
Is it Boise State?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
This is where it's a surprise. You talk to whoever is governing college football and you say, guys, this is malarkey that you're keeping this team that's just to the north of us in this Division 1A bullcrap forever. If they're going to win every single year, you just make North Dakota State a Division 1 football school.
I think it's very close.
And
to
make
happening,
North
too.
Dakota State play us, and you add them into my ideal conference.
And they would probably love it. Yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun too.
And yeah, I'm sure you wouldn't hear boo from their fans either. Actually, I know you wouldn't hear boo because I talked to one of the gals who works here every day about it, and she's like, I wish we were a Division 1 school. It would be more fun for everyone.
That has been the 2-hour jaunt we call the After Hours Lounge. Thank you to anybody that joined us tonight. Thank you to Dan Campen and John Schreiner for doing all they do here. And a special thank you to our guy Connor Rhodes, who joined us to intern tonight. If you missed any of the show, check it out on our radio replay page under 1620thezone.com under the After Hours tab. For Dan, for Connor, for John, I've been Jimmy Allen. Happy National Catfish Day, everybody.
Don't fall for it.
The dream of playing the sport you love may be closer than you think. The Bellevue University Athletic Department proudly sports the best scholarship funding among NAIA programs in the state. To compete with the best, we need to recruit the best. All incoming freshmen earn a $5,000 scholarship when they enroll at Bellevue University. Learn more by looking us up at BUBruins.com and reach out to your future coach today.
Don't keep up with the Joneses. Blow the Joneses out of the water and have everyone talking about your house this summer. Let Forsman's Finest Decks come build you a deck, put a cover on it, and give your house the much-needed facelift it deserves. Forsman's Finest Decks has been improving homes in the Omaha area for more than half a decade. With over 135 five-star reviews, you're not going to regret your decision to enjoy the finer things. Check out Forsman's